Tom Brady can't win the Hunger Games if you don't put him in the Hunger Games.
Welcome to Drafted. I'm your host, Daniel Prentice, and as always, I am joined by my good friend, Preston Thompson. Preston, how you doing? What are you drinking this? Jesus. How you doing? What are you drinking tonight, my friend?
I'm leaving that in there. No, it's no.
How much you been drinking?
You've nailed every one of those intros we've done for multiple years now, and yeah, no, that was the first time, so I have to leave that in there so people know you're
a slightly higher stress level for this recording of the episode. I'm going to blame it on that.
Okay. I'm doing okay. Don't get mad at me, but I just spent some time with my family in South Carolina, two parents and a brother, and because I don't get to see them as often, I forget how much we drink when we're all together. So I am in full recovery mode right now, trying to prepare for this next work of week. So I'm drinking water, but I want you to know it's because the Thompson clan goes very hard, and I had to try and keep up. I can't be the runt of the family, slowing everybody down.
That's okay. I totally understand.
Let me just point out that while you're trying to prepare for your work of week, you definitely said work of week.
Oh,
so
shit. It's not going to be good, is it?
I didn't even catch it. I didn't even catch it.
I didn't catch it either.
Thank God.
Maybe you need to take another couple sips.
Thank goodness for our guest this week, who you can hear in our intro just now, and also every week on the Deep Look podcast, if you're into the whole Ultimate Frisbee thing. Also, my boy is on YouTube now and trying to get a Twitch stream off the ground as well. KR Magic, Kayare Magic is the Twitch channel. Keith, I assume the YouTube channel is the same, but if not, please correct me.
No, that it is one and the same. So if you like NBA 2K or soon MLB The Show, so if you like hanging out and playing sports video games, then that's the place to be, I guess.
That does sound fun.
But yeah, Keith, we are thrilled to have you with us as always. What are you drinking, and how are you doing?
I am drinking a nice local brew. It's Gatorade Zero.
I've not heard of that.
It's a lemon lime
locally
flavor,
made.
so it's like it's a small batch.
Is it an IPA? sounds very,
Absolutely not.
Sounds very citrusy.
It's not an IPA at all.
Citrus hops.
It is citrusy.
Interesting. That kind of just looks like a Gatorade on video, actually.
Gatorade.
Kinda.
Gatorade Zara.
Well,
Yeah.
I do typically give Preston a hard time and guests on occasion a hard time if they're not drinking alcohol, but Keith was asked to be on the show literally like 10 minutes before recording, so I'm going to give him a pass this time.
I also am still basically not drinking in solidarity with my wife. So
that's right.
Totally fair.
I have a good excuse, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, that's just around the corner, really. Keith about to be a dad, so be sure to check out the YouTube and Twitch because babies are expensive.
You may get to watch my sanity deteriorate on the course of
almost certainly going to be our youngest guest on the show once that happens, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to get him on.
Drafting best binkies or something like that.
Yeah, he'd probably kick your ass. Drafting
It's
not hard. Not hard.
Well, I myself am drinking a Red Stripe. I thought about doing something a little stronger, but I just keep it simple. It's a Sunday night. I actually am planning on getting up early tomorrow and doing real work, so I didn't want to get too gonzo like I usually do with these things. But Preston, we're not doing binkies tonight. What are we drafting?
So, we are drafting NFL quarterbacks to participate in the 75th annual Hunger Games. Or 74th annual Hunger Games, I think is the one they start
Specifically
with.
the 74th. Okay.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast in 2014 from Grantland. I think it was Grantland. Like, that clearly dates how old this was. Where they did something very similar to this. And it has been just like a bug in the back of my mind for so long. So I'm very happy that we on the Draft Universe is tackling this. And like, I'm sure half of the quarterbacks they were talking about back then are not even in the league anymore. So
Yeah, at least you can see how it plays out. In relation, I have not seen this. Preston brought this idea, and I love the idea, so we had to do a draft of it. Don't tell us who won the Grantland version of it. Save that for the end.
This makes me think of, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Shea Serrano's book Basketball and Other Things.
Yeah, of course.
But within it there is a chapter about if Karl Malone and a grizzly bear switched places in like a specific NBA season, who would have a better year? The grizzly bear as the power forward of the Utah Jazz, or Karl Malone as a wild bear?
This is such an interesting question. Yeah, what's the conclusion?
What's the resolution?
I think the bear had a better year. But
I don't doubt that.
I don't remember. I'd have to go look at it. The concept is more interesting perhaps than the actual text, but
yeah, I think any human would have a hard time being a bear for a whole year.
I think so.
I mean, you got to think a bear being a professional basketball player, while the bear certainly would have some advantages, would have some pretty big disadvantages that are necessary to be a successful basketball player.
All right. Well, before we get any further on this Karl Malone bear nonsense, since Shea Serrano broke it all down so fully before us, let's get to this draft. Our draft order tonight is Keith has the first overall pick, Preston has number 2, and I have number 3. And, of course, snake order style, so that order flips on even rounds. So, without further ado, Keith, who you taking off the board at number 1 here?
All right, so I've done copious amounts of fruitful research, we should say. Many hours have been spent poring over lists and data, even getting a couple of scouting reports. So
wow.
I've really had to dive.
It's like you're prepping for the actual NFL draft.
Yeah, it was funny that y'all actually contacted me to do this because I was thinking about actually doing it.
Oh, okay.
Life. So,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
About actually doing the Hunger Games?
I can't go into too many details thanks to my lawyers. So I'm not gonna go too far on it, but
thanks, lawyers.
Lawyers per usual coming through to help us out here. So this is actually a pretty tricky spot, but I'm gonna just take the best guy.
Okay.
Which to me has got to be Pat Mahomes.
Okay.
Look, he's young, he's athletic, he's charming. Everything's basically going his way.
Yes.
And even when he lost in the Super Bowl, it was not because he wasn't doing the most insane things conceivable to the human mind. So I'm just going to ride the wave with that guy who just seems like he's destined for stardom and hope that I can put a team around him that can carry him to the same level of success as which his teammates were not able to do in this most recent big stage of the Super Bowl.
Now, before we go any further, I do want to make one clarification in case Patrick Mahomes' mother listens to the podcast. It is Patrick Mahomes. Ooh. Yeah. Ooh. Was that this past season? His mom sent out a tweet because people kept calling him Pat Mahomes, and she's like, "It's Patrick." The reason I know that's because like his dad played professional baseball, and there's like baseball cards of the dad were kind of going for a certain amount of money just because they're Patrick Mahomes' dad, which is kind of insane. Like he's such a big star that his dad became a star 30 years or whatever after he finished.
That's the kind of kid I hope to have.
Bring me along with you. The kind of star power you want when you're trying to get some good sponsors in the Hunger Games.
I forgot about the whole sponsor element of the Hunger Games.
So I thought the sponsor thing was going to be like the trick up my sleeve. I was hoping both of you were going to forget about this.
Oh, I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, Keith did not. I have like 3 guys all in the top tier. Like these are the guys that are going to be given gifts by like their uber rich friends that want to see them win, and that's going to swing the tides massively here. And Pat Mahomes is certainly Patrick. I'm doing it now too. Is certainly one of those 3. Also, just an unbelievable athlete.
Yes.
Like I don't know, like he's got kind of like a country cowboy vibe. I don't know how much of that is like authentic.
Gunslinger,
but like
he's from Texas. He didn't grow up in Texas.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he could lasso a bull or something, and that seems like would be a useful skill set to have as well in the Hunger Games. So.
Right, and his athleticism transcends the kind of traditional, I think what people sometimes narrowly define as like, speed, strength, that sort of thing. Like he has the body control skill elements as well as the speed and the strength. So he's someone who I think you could teach to do some complex physical activities that aren't just like brute strength activities. Also, and it has already joined the Kansas City Royals ownership group. So this is someone who's got a long view. He knows how to make a plan, think forwardly towards the future. So you're not just going to get him running off half cocked.
Yeah, yeah. I like the pick. Preston, how are you following it up with pick number 2 here?
I think I have a tendency to overthink these things. So I'm just going to go the nice conventional route here, and I'm just going to take Lamar Jackson, just because he seems like a really hard person to catch. And, it just did, he's almost, to me, like the first pick you'd take in, two-hand touch football. Like, he just seems like that really annoying guy you play in, your intramural college football where, the flags, you think he might be cheating with the flags he's playing in flag football, because you thought you pulled it, but he's, moving through space and time a little bit. Yeah. He's just very hard to catch. There's nothing more to it than that. It's very fast.
He's this is a very weird draft to prepare for. Usually when you're doing it doesn't really team building, I don't feel. Maybe to some aspect, like teams can sometimes, alliances are developed sometimes in the Hunger Games. Only to a certain point, though. Only one person can win until the 74th Hunger Games. One of my categories is athletes, and Lamar Jackson is easily the top of that list. I mean, he's freakishly athletic. He's so fast, and I didn't think he'd be a good NFL quarterback because he was such a good athlete that your brain is he's just as good in college because he can run around real fast. But he can run around so fast that he's also really good in the NFL, despite not really being great of a passer.
He can run around so fast that not mattering so much in the NFL stopped mattering for him. It started becoming important to run around real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy's obviously also really strong and very determined. So I think if you need some raw power, I feel like Lamar Jackson's going to give it to you. Plus, he's got some edge to him. This is a dude who does not take disrespect lightly. And that could pay off in the Hunger Games, I think. Could also be a double-edged sword, but
yeah, his interactions with the press and stuff like that is going to find him some trouble in the same way it does in the actual movie, where you kind of have to play the crowd a little bit, and he does seem to have the constant never-ending chip on his shoulder. But I think that's good once you get in there, bad as you're leading up to it.
Okay. Well, this is great for me. I do think those are 2 good picks, but the 2 picks at the top of my board are still here, and I love that. I am going to take, with my first pick, I'm going to take Josh Allen, quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. Now, I was already very high on him because he's 6'5" and just another athletic freak. I mean, he is an absolute beast. He can also run despite being massive. He's just a hulking human being. Probably the biggest QB, muscly QB in the NFL, if I had to guess. I feel like Ben Roethlisberger probably weighs more, but his athletically not the same caliber, shall we say. This isn't worth anything, I don't think, but he can basically throw the football 80, 90 yards. So his arm strength, he could probably kill people with rocks, which I think is I mean, probably most of these guys could, but he especially could. So that feels good. We also learned, or should I say Keith learned and revealed to us that he grew up on a 3,000-acre cotton farm in California, and apparently in his high school days won awards for his agricultural knowledge and acumen. And that's very important. That's huge. Mm-hmm. I can't believe that he didn't go first overall after that information was revealed about him. So not only do I get this massive athlete with lethal arm strength, I'm going to get a guy who's going to know crops and vegetation and stuff, and that seems massive to me.
I guess, but if we're going off of the 74th Hunger Games, so they're in that biome and it's mostly woods or whatever, he's not going to have time to grow anything. He's not just tilling the land. Knowing
what to eat, what not to eat, that is extremely valuable.
Okay. I don't want to undersell that because, yes, it is nice. And most of my other picks are going to be based around similar logic of outside of football experience.
That's the thing. You don't want to undermine my pick so much that you're undermining your own later picks.
Yes, absolutely.
I feel free to undermine. I do think that there's not going to be as much utility in his general agricultural acumen, but I do think this is probably someone who's done a lot of work and knows how to work with various types of equipment. work outside, that kind of stuff. That stuff will be generally helpful. A little bit of like wilderness training, so to speak. It just comes with working outside and working in a natural environment. So I think he'll be comfortable, camping out or whatever you have to do. And yes, he is very big and strong. So he would have been my next pick, I think.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that. My next pick now, and you guys might give me flack for this because he is old. He, I believe, is the oldest person available.
All right, let's skip past his name and just start talking shit about
him. Okay.
Yes.
It's Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady, okay? Now, listen. I think Tom Brady is the most overrated athlete of our time. And now, we don't usually do sports on this show, but this is like a very rare sports episode, and I feel very strongly about this. But the thing is, Tom Brady, one, is extraordinarily wealthy, has a lot of friends in very high places. There is not a single quarterback on this list who will get more sponsors, will get more gifts and help from outside of the games themselves. Also, Giselle will probably send some like snarky tweets about the Game Master or whatever, the guy who's running the Hunger Games, and like will probably get him like removed if things aren't going well for Tom. Tom Brady also just extraordinarily lucky. Like if there's one thing Tom Brady is the greatest at, is having like the most blessed career I've ever seen. He's been gifted so many wins his career. It's unbelievable. And listen, luck is massive in a scenario like this, okay?
Yes.
Things are going to have to break your way no matter how good or prepared you are for this. And we see that in the Hunger Games. Like the favorites don't win all the time. You got to be the one that has the breaks go their way, and no one is better at that than Tom Brady.
But see, okay, here's my first thing. Before I get into like Tom Brady as like a human being or whatever.
We don't need to do that.
We don't need to.
Let's not go down that path.
In the Hunger Games like dynamic, I think what you may be forgetting here is that all of these people are essentially like have been competitors with Tom Brady, and almost only Tom Brady, for their entire career. Like, he is the bar by which they are measured. So like kind of District 1 from the Hunger Games, which are these like pristine, hyper-rich people who've been trained all their lives, and the Golden Boys and girls or whatever. Like, he is the one they are going for first. Like, I could easily see 5 other quarterbacks create an alliance just to kill him early and get it done, and then they'll go their separate ways. You know what I mean?
See, no, because like that's true in the NFL. And instead of doing that, they all join his team because they know he wins. It's like when Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay, like all these other like Gronk unretired because of it. Because like, oh, I'm gonna go win with Tom again. Okay, but other free agents took like team friendly.
Yeah.
Listen. Okay. My point is, people have been gunning for Tom for over a decade, and the guy still wins every time. It doesn't matter.
Let me extend that to all of the like popularity and resources that Tom Brady has. Like, who do you think is probably the most hated player in? Or maybe a player at any position in the NFL, but certainly quarterbacks. Like, the most beloved and the most hated.
That's what I'm saying.
Taysom Hill. You don't think it's Taysom Hill?
I do not think it's
And what you're saying...
You're going to get sponsors sponsoring the people closest to hurting Tom
That's
Brady.
What I'm saying. And what you're saying is he's been blessed his whole career, and he's had, like, these protections, right? Whatever you want to call them. Like, Belichick's offense, or, like, Julian Edelman making, like, a just stupid catch. Like, he doesn't get those things when he steps in there. There are no rules anymore.
Listen. You can't say that. Everyone said he's not going to be able to win without Belichick at Tampa Bay, and he did. He did anyway.
He went to a team
even though he was
had,
not
like,
good,
one of the most absurd receiving cores ever.
And an incredible defense. That's what I'm saying. Everything goes right for this guy. He's going to be the winner at the end. No matter what you do, Tom Brady is going to be the one that wins the Hunger Games.
So you're
going to be livid about it, and you're going to hate it. You're like, I'm not watching the Hunger Games next year. I'm done. I'm fed up with it. It's rigged. I hate this shit. But Tom Brady is going to be the one that wins. I guarantee you.
So you foresee happening, like the horn sounds, and everybody runs into the middle to grab like their swords, their bows and arrows, and their supplies. And he just walks away, and 5 minutes later, he just happens upon like a pre-made tent that's already camouflaged under a tree, and it's got like 13 days of supplies just inside it.
And guns. He's going to be the only guy with guns somehow. That's how it goes for Tom Brady. Listen, I don't like it any more than you do, but that's like it's undeniable at this point. Okay, I think we're just wasting time arguing about it, frankly. Okay. So, Preston,
I do think there's something to the guy just keeps winning no matter what the scenario is. I think there's something to that argument, but
I hate it.
I think that the negatives are also extremely present, including, of course, that he's 40-something.
Yes. He is an old man.
But you know what? The guy eats like avocados and crackers and baby's blood or whatever he consumes that keeps him
mermaid
in good
blood.
graces.
Yeah, that keeps him young.
I don't know what it is, but it's work. TB12's working for him. So,
all right,
it's
let's never talk about Tom Brady on this podcast ever again, except for in the second half of the show if it is necessary. Okay, I hated making that pick, but I thought I had to do it. Preston, how are you gonna fill out your team here with your second pick?
Well, I hate this pick for two reasons. One is I feel like there's potential that I could get this person later because he may not be on your radars. And two is because...
I'm going to call the pick in my head.
Okay. And two is because he's a very particularly hated individual for myself.
Okay, never mind.
So you can write it down on a piece of paper, seal it in an envelope if you want it, and then we'll check after.
No, I was wrong.
I am taking what I would consider to be the most freakishly built athlete at quarterback in the NFL, despite him not playing well in recent years, and that's Cam Newton. I think he's an actual, absurdly put together human being. You mentioned, Josh Allen as that kind of person. He's got 10 pounds on Josh Allen and is also 6'5". He's just kind of a one-of-a-kind athlete. Is he good at quarterback anymore? Probably not. He probably doesn't have, a super long future in front of him, but he's like I said, the District 1 kind of player where he's just huge.
Here's the problem.
Okay.
If we were doing this 5 years ago, Cam Newton is the easy number one pick.
Mm-hmm.
But Cam Newton was never that good of a quarterback. The thing is, Cam Newton was the best athlete on the field at all times, and the reason he's not a good quarterback anymore is because that's no longer true, because his body has failed him, and he is a broken human being who barely functions on an athletic level anymore.
I'm with you, and I think to a certain extent that is true, but I think motivations are change when you get thrown into an arena where you could die. And I think yes, he has bad knees, but work through it. And also you just took a 58-year-old man
who has immaculate health-wise still.
Sure, but one good hit from Cam Newton and he has just as many injuries. So
I'm with Brendan here. I think you could get the athleticism elsewhere, but not with less injury risk.
I do not think you can get that athleticism elsewhere. I think he is the heaviest and tallest quarterback. I think,
and you might not be able to get the size and speed together and the full athleticism, but you are gonna the speed's deteriorated a lot.
Yes,
this is not Cam Newton of old, so you're gonna be able to get that elsewhere. But I also think that you're taking on a lot of risk.
Yeah.
I am probably internalizing 4 or 5 years ago Cam Newton, but I still have hope that this whole thing is his life's on the line. Put it together, baby. Power through.
My life's on the line. All of a sudden, my legs work properly again. What do you know?
Just every other person involved has the same stakes. So I just don't see his motivation being that much higher than anybody else's.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, if you somehow find the miracle cure for Cam's ailments, then I do think it's a good pick. But I think he's broken. I think Cam Newton is a broken physically. So that's a tough one for Cam, I think.
Okay,
Keith, you have back-to-back picks here now. So
after a lot of thought, I think I'm going to go in a bit of a mixed direction between your last two picks.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to take Russell Wilson. Now Wilson is a pretty good athlete. Famously was somebody who could have played professional baseball as well as professional football. But he's also got the maturity and the intelligence of a winner. This is someone who knows how to be a leader, who knows how to play his part in the system as well. So I like the well-roundedness, the maturity I'm going to get with Russell Wilson, on top of him being one of the better athletes, I think, still, despite his age, in the league. I mean, he's probably 30-something now, right?
Yeah,
he's
33,
32?
Somewhere in there, I would
32, 33?
Yeah,
I mean,
he's older than you think.
He is, but that's partially because of the way he plays. I mean, he still moves very smoothly.
Yeah.
I think he's probably still one of the 10 most athletic quarterbacks in the league, probably.
I agree.
And that combination to me feels like it has a lot of value. So I'll take Russell Wilson here and see what y'all have to say about that.
Well, a sneaky thing about Russell Wilson is you get that water he drinks. that like blessed Jesus water that prevents him from getting concussions. And I mean, I don't think Russell's ever missed a game with a concussion, so it must work. And I would imagine that stuff protects you from more than just concussion. So I don't know if he can take it into the arena with him or not. Probably not, actually. But if he just drinks a bunch of it before going into the Hunger Games, then I think he can't be killed.
Yes, please share that with us, Russell.
Let me throw some of that out here, because he's, as Keith said, a very talented baseball player. And sports that require very different skill sets. And Daniel's right. Notoriously, does not miss games. So, what if the Russell Wilson that's good at baseball is really an identical twin?
Whoa.
And they have basically a double that they switch in and out.
He just got a 2 for 1.
Yeah,
you're only making the pick stronger.
I'm going to take Russell Wilson next round, the twin.
Like I said, I think I do think Russell's strongest is the Miracle Water. I have to say, I think that's his strongest selling point. I would have taken him in my next slot for that very reason. Also, a guy that's going to get a lot of outside support. I feel like people like Russell Wilson. Pretty popular guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, seems likable.
All right.
Yeah.
So now I have to do this all over again, right?
You do. That's the name of the game.
Or do I?
Take his twin.
So,
is this where you take the twin? Is this where you take
my
Russell's
friend
twin?
Preston, kind of. But why take a twin of your 32-year-old athletic quarterback when you could just take his newer, younger version, Kyler Murray?
Okay.
So I'm gonna double dip here. I'm gonna take the young, impressionable Kyler Murray, another dual baseball, football star, very similar measurables, I would say, to Russell Wilson, but without the wear and the tear and the age, and sure, without the experience as well. But that's why we got Russ to guide him. We got Russ to help push these. I got 2 young bucks with Patrick.
Well, this is not a team-based game, though. Only one can win.
Well, it depends. I mean, Katniss and PETA made it work.
Also, clearly, if you've seen the Hunger Games, they operated teams most of the way.
Yeah, they do.
And I've never understood that, but we don't have to get into that. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Because there's power in numbers.
Yeah.
You'd rather have a good chance at being one of the last 4 than a mediocre chance of being the last 1.
I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the results don't really change. I mean, you die on day 2 as opposed to day 6 or whatever. But I guess that's those extra 4 days. Sure.
I think if when my life's on the line, I'm looking for every edge I can get.
Yeah. I mean, the longer you last, the more likely you are to win the whole thing, right? I mean, that's simple enough.
That's fair.
All right, Preston, you're up. 3rd pick here.
Well, this is just where it starts getting weird. A lot of the
wait, just now? I feel like it got weird as soon as we announced that this was our draft.
This is totally normal. This is a totally normal thing to do.
Right.
But a lot of the really strong athletes have been taken. So I'm gonna venture off the beaten path a little here. I'm gonna take Ryan Tannehill, who is. There are a lot of quarterbacks in my research that I found are avid outdoorsmen. He's probably the best athlete of the kind of big outdoorsman types. He does a ton of shooting, although we said there's not really any guns in here. A ton of fishing, a ton of hunting, a ton of camping, stuff like that. I think it's an interesting pick. I will say a very troubling story I found in my research is that he and his wife, Lauren Tannehill, got in trouble because they returned a rental car that still had their AR-15 in the back.
Nice.
That's a problem.
Is that a problem or is that a good thing?
Who needs to keep track of where the AR-15 is,
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes they just slip out of your pocket. You don't even realize it. Like your phone or something like that.
Now that you mentioned it, I do remember that story.
It was very strange. But
I set my AR-15 to vibrate. So that
yeah, so you can call it. Where'd I leave that thing? Could someone call my AR-15 for me? Oh, God, that left on silent. I'm never going to find it.
But he does a lot of fishing and hunting and stuff like that. And that's part of the category I'm trying to pull on here, even though I don't think it's going to help me in this Twitter vote. But I've seen some pictures of him in some truly large fish. So I don't know.
His career also came back from the fucking grave.
Yes, he's a
So
fighter.
I don't know if that like can translate anywhere, like where he's, you think he's done and out, and all of a sudden, here's Ryan Tannehill leading his, he's in the final 3 now. All of a sudden, don't know how that happened. I thought he was done and retired.
Very much a dark horse. Yeah.
And this is a guy who knows how to bounce back, who knows how to take his lumps, and you're certainly probably going to take some lumps in the process of winning the Hunger Games. So yeah, you can narratively construct how being someone who's resilient can be useful here.
I'm glad you guys like that pick. That's good.
Yeah, I think for Tannehill to have a chance, he's going to need to find an ally real quick. He's going to need his Derrick Henry type. Because I think that's had more to do with his career.
God, can you imagine Derrick Henry? Oh my God,
Derrick Henry picked number 1, right? He's picked
Derrick
number 1.
Henry is the Hunger Games. He's the one that's organized all of this together.
So I don't know if either of you saw the thread. There was like a Twitter thread, and this was maybe 6 months ago or something like that. It could be longer, where people were talking about times that they had to compete against dominant professional athletes when they were in high school. And like someone was talking about when his high school football team played Derrick Henry and he rushed for like 400 something yards and 5 touchdowns. It was just like trying to imagine like high school kids trying to interact with these people is outrageous. Like clips of Zion playing high school basketball. And
outrageous.
That's not fair.
There's a great clip of Zion playing in high school, and this like sophomore equipment manager from the opposing team comes off the bench, and he's like 5'2", 100 pounds, but he gets up in Zion's face and just starts clapping over and over. No. Let's go, baby, let's go. And Zion is like looking around like, is this kid serious? He's taking the fight to me.
I've seen that clip, and not only that, but Zion knows the kid. Like he knows his name and like talks about him. It seems pretty funny actually.
Wow.
That's cool.
Well, if you don't know who Derrick Henry is, and I suspect that may be a fair number of you, actually.
He's not a quarterback.
No, he's not. But Google image Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram.
Yes.
And you will see a very comedic picture and
you will
appreciate
see 2
just how
Heisman-winning running backs, and one of them looks like the other one's dad.
Yeah. And then not just dad, but like dad of like a 10-year-old.
Yes.
and then know that guy can run like a 4.40.
Truly absurd.
He's a beast. But yeah, it would be number 1 pick if this weren't just quarterbacks, but it is. So I am a little surprised that this guy isn't overpicked. Like there are a couple times where you're setting up like these athletes who are maybe more athletic than they are good quarterbacks, and no one fits that bill better, in my opinion, than Taysom Hill of the New Orleans Saints. Now, Taysom Hill...
I thought you might be going a different direction here, but I'm curious to hear the Taysom Hill stats.
So Taysom Hill was like a special teams player for a long time because he's just a great athletic specimen, I guess. He's very fast, very big, very strong. So that speaks for itself, I think. I think it's ludicrous that the Saints are paying him all this money to be a quarterback when he can't play quarterback, but that's a different topic for a different podcast. But here's the thing about Taysom Hill. He went to BYU. And if you go to BYU, you go on a Church of Latter-day Saints mission for a full year. Now, I don't know exactly where Taysom went for his, but I assume that he at least was like helping build shelters or something along those lines. Something in the realm that could possibly be construed as beneficial to existing in like a less than first world country for a time. So that's why I'm taking Taysom Hill.
I am currently trying to figure out where he did his mission because I want you
so
badly to be wrong.
I'm also Googling this.
Oh, damn.
He went to Australia.
Okay, Australia is... So was he like in the wilderness in Australia?
I haven't gotten to that part. All I've got is the location.
I mean, he could have been in Sydney, right?
It actually says he did his whole mission in the Opera House. So, was not really building any schools.
Shit.
Like Daniel
Shit.
said. No, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I'm making a lot of assumptions here. A lot of assumptions with very little knowledge on how any of this works.
Definitely a freak athlete.
Yeah,
for sure.
You,
and also going to BYU, he's not a big drinker, smoker, anything like that. So he's like probably got like his preparation's going to be pretty solid.
Yeah.
Right? Not getting into anything he shouldn't. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how I feel about the dynamics of a BYU grad being in the Hunger Games. I'm trying to like rationalize that in my head. So I might need a minute to figure it out.
Well, to be honest, I don't know that anyone is going to have like cultural values that align themselves with participating in the
Hunger Games.
If that's your concern, yeah.
I don't know. Lamar Jackson might, which is like screw everyone who talked trash about me.
Yeah, true.
So
Yeah, finally.
he might.
I finally have a chance.
You mean I get to just do whatever I want to them?
Okay. Now, this I'm going old again here, which might be a mistake. But I think...
Like, I'm into that. I'm into you making mistakes. Let's keep it going.
One of the realms that I'm short in, I'm kind of trying to cast a wide net here. I think, if that's not obvious, I think the more different types of competitors I have, the more likely I am that one of them will win, rather than just like loading up on guys who are all going to try to win the same way, thus knocking themselves off. So I'm going to take who I think is the most charismatic of any. At least of any player left, if not of any quarterback in the league, and that is Mr. Aaron Rodgers. Another guy who he's only won once, so I can't say like the Tom Brady thing, like he always wins, but he's pretty much always in contention. So I would be shocked if Aaron Rodgers did not find a way to be one of the last few, which obviously gives him a good chance of winning. And just everyone loves Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, has anyone ever said that they dislike Aaron Rodgers? Also a great athlete. He's not in his prime anymore, granted, but and just seems like a very smart guy.
Excluding his own family, yes, everybody loves Aaron Rodgers.
That's true, but that seems to be more on his family than him. Based on what I know.
It seems like it. I have no idea. He was probably who I was going to take next. There is an X factor in there. I agree with you, like trying to find different types of people. He has a unbelievable, just killer instinct. Mm-hmm. Like, he seems like a very kind of timid, mild-mannered. I mean, he literally just hosted Jeopardy. Like, you have to be a very particular kind of person to do that. But if you are facing against him in like an important game, like I just have to imagine that instinct is so terrifying. So in an event like the Hunger Games, where like the dynamics are going to be changing every 20 minutes, like at the beginning it's really rough and chaotic, and then it kind of slows down and stuff. He's just always going to know, similar to what you were saying with Tom Brady, but feels more deserved. He's always going to know like how to find a way to keep winning.
He's also like deep nerdy into football here. He's the best in the league at getting people to jump off sides. So he's gonna be really good at getting people to beat themselves. You know.
Ooh, interesting.
And he's also the best Hail Mary thrower in the league. So when he's in dire straits and is left on a prayer, he's got a better chance of completing than anyone else. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure being able to manipulate the hard count's going to do much here, my friend.
No, I'm translating it.
What's the physical translation between being able to throw a Hail Mary ball very well and the Hunger Games?
No, see,
he just throws a spear very high in the air.
It's not about the physical aspect of the Hail Mary.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the mental,
It's like the meta aspect of it.
Okay, sure. No. Whatever. I'm with you. It makes
Listen, this is a weird draft, okay? You gotta give me this. Yeah, this is a weird fucking draft.
Yeah.
Okay, Preston. I'm sorry I stole your pick there. You said you were going to take Aaron Rodgers, but who are you taking instead with your fourth pick?
Yeah, this one kind of maybe seems a little off the board, but I'm going to take Justin Herbert.
Okay.
6'6", 236, 23 years old.
Is he that tall?
No injuries.
He's definitely tall, yes.
Yeah, and graduated with a 4.0 in biology.
Wow.
So, thanks to a friend of mine, Jared, for sending all that info my way when I posed this question to my group, because that just seems like a nice
cheater.
safe pick.
I've never consulted outside sources on any draft ever.
That's a lie. with our very guest this week, you've consulted outside with. Come on. Just because your friends participate more in our show doesn't mean I can't occasionally call on mine.
No, I do it. I do it all the time. I mean, I've said that I've basically I had people draft for me in the Game of Thrones draft because I've not watched the show, so I'm just busting your balls.
But here I've stopped trying to win the Twitter vote, and I've started to find a draft where I can be proud of it. And I feel like Justin Herbert here is like a smart pick. You've got a young gun who's got something to prove, super healthy, pretty quick, pretty strong, and apparently very smart.
I mean, you got a 4.0 at Oregon, right? It's not,
Damn. Keep throwing that shade.
A little bit.
Hopefully we don't have any listeners from Oregon.
I was a big skeptic of Justin Herbert as an NFL quarterback, and the guy proved me wrong. So I don't think I have room to talk to denigrate him here after he embarrassed my hot takes about how he just wasn't going to be any good.
I feel like he's got that West Coast pretty boy thing going on a little bit too. Like he'll be like very popular. Like he looks.
Oh really? I think he still has that teenaged acne looking face.
He does, but it's like he got like the boyish charm with the pretty boy. He's got like the flowing locks, you know. I feel like he looks like a District 1.
He looks kind of like Sunshine
competitor.
From
Yeah. Have either of you read the books, by the way?
No,
I have.
Okay,
they get increasingly
dark.
Not good.
Yeah, that factual. I loathed the third one. So, okay.
Oh, the third one is detestable.
It's awful.
Almost unfinishable.
I hated it. I truly hated it. We can take a little story time here.
I would love to hear this, actually. Yeah.
This is part of bringing me on the show.
Okay.
This is the baggage I come with, is just like
I think
totally tangents.
This is why people listen to the show, I think. I don't think they actually give us... I mean, some people really care about the draft if it's like a topic they care about, but otherwise...
They want to hear about the AR-15 in the back of the car. Yeah.
Well, maybe not that part.
On vibrate.
So I saw the first Hunger Games movie like everyone else, and then I went and saw the second one, and I actually really liked the second one. I thought the second one did some fun things. Like, okay, now I want to know how it ends, and I knew the third one would be broken up into 2 movies. So I didn't want to wait for the 2 movies, and the books are extremely readable. I read all 3 over a Thanksgiving weekend or something, and just crushed the first 2, and then hate read the entire third one. It was horrible. It was genuinely horrible. And it wasn't just basically. Everyone that you like dies, unjustifiably. It's just here's just slow, awful slow, horrible to read, slow. Nothing is literally happening after the second one set it up so well. And then the entire last 2 chapters is oh yeah, okay, now this person's dead, now this person's dead, now this person's dead.
Everything that you hate about the last season of Game of Thrones, for the Game of Thrones fans out there,
I was just about to bring this up.
Hate about the last book of Hunger Games.
Yeah, it sounded exactly like it.
Horribly paced and then incredibly rushed and completely unsatisfying.
Yeah, it was awful, really awful. Suzanne Collins, right? We'll never forgive her.
Didn't Game of Thrones just tweet the other day? They tweeted winter's coming, and a bunch of people are like, "Oh my god, maybe they're gonna remake Game of Thrones season 8, kind of like they did the Snyder cut."
I was just gonna say it. People have seen the Snyder cut and are now thinking that
we could just remake anything.
Yes, complete global retconning is possible. We're just gonna go remake every single thing.
Would the world be? I mean. Sometimes when the refs review it and they're like, okay, the call was wrong. That's what we should be doing with Game of Thrones. It was.
They got it wrong on the field.
But here's the
overturned.
Here's the thing. Do you have any faith that they would actually be able to do it better? I have no faith that they actually learned their lesson.
Different people would have to do it.
They could vomit on a script and it would be almost as good. So it's hard to not make it better.
Or you know what you could do? Do what the Snyder cut did, and instead of making it better, just make it longer.
They could
add in
improv
a whole lot of stuff.
Just bring in an improv troupe and have them play the characters, and it would be better.
Also,
just say yes to everything.
I did not know what the Snyder Cut was. I just had to Google it on my phone. Apparently, Zack Snyder
What rock have you been under?
released a director's cut of Justice League.
Yes, I watched it.
It's very complicated. The Justice. He was directing Justice League.
Yeah,
and then he left the project because of a family tragedy. Mm-hmm. And so they brought in a different director, and the new director tried to enact his vision. And it turns out when you make a movie that's half one director's and half a different director who has a completely different vision of it, it turns out really shitty.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. And so when they released a version that was one director's cohesive vision, it was a lot better.
To be fair, it was one director's cohesive vision, and they also gave him an extra 2.5 hours to put forward a vision. So he smashed together what is probably 6 Marvel movies worth of stuff into one 4-hour movie, and of course it's better because things make more sense.
Wait, how long is it?
See them. It's
over 4 hours.
Oh my god!
To be fair, I think it would probably track in at a more understandable 2:40 if he removed the horrible ending, the really long epilogue, and also all of the slow motion.
Okay.
So
yeah, I think
it would come in at a reasonable runtime.
Something 35% of the movie is in slow motion. It's just kind of absurd.
Jesus, that sounds horrible.
Parts where you're like, why is that in slow motion?
I am a massive superhero movie buff, so I watched it the day it came out, and it is better. If you watched the first Justice League and you had high hopes and you were disappointed, try it because it is better, but it is 4 hours.
I don't think I'd watch anything that lasts 4 hours.
I agree with you. It's definitely better, and some of the changes are very odd. That like the things that they changed from his movie
make no sense.
I don't know why they did that.
Yes.
All right. Before we get a podcast episode that lasts 4 hours, Preston,
I could talk about this so long.
Why don't
He
you
did.
make a pick?
It's my pick. It's my
Oh,
pick.
sorry. You're right. Yeah, sorry. Keith. Yeah, Keith. You have 2 picks.
Boy, am I glad to get these two, and I'm shocked that this person lasted this long.
Well,
Oh, no.
I thought that when you all were like, okay, we got to take a different angle here.
Oh no.
We got to diversify our team.
Don't do it to me.
I'm diversifying my team.
No.
Because I'm gonna take the smartest guy in the
No,
room.
damn
Ryan
it!
Fitzpatrick.
I thought for sure I'd get him later.
Damn it.
Oh,
Not only does he look like a pirate,
yeah.
but he went to Harvard.
He did go to Harvard.
I don't know if you've
He's
heard
a
of a
Harvard
little
pirate.
place called Harvard,
I have heard of Harvard.
but they make smart kids there.
He looks like Leonardo DiCaprio from The Revenant. And I think you put him in this environment and he starts to embody that character.
This is a guy who gives no bothers, as
He won't die. He will not die.
No bothers.
He won't die.
Yeah. I mean, and he gives my team a totally different element. You know, you can keep your 4.0 at Oregon. I'm going to take the Harvard grad.
You know what I was thinking about?
This is a great pick.
I was looking at him today, and I was kind of hoping he would fall one more round to me. But I was looking at him today. The throw he made this past year, where he threw this kind of Hail Mary desperation ball, and then they go back and look at the replay and basically find out like his neck was broken. Like while he was throwing it, like his head is facing backwards because he's being face masked. Like that's the kind of energy you want in your scrappy Hunger Games fighter. Like his body was breaking, and he's like, "No, I got a dude open. I got dude open downfield. I'm gonna hit it."
Yeah, this is a great pick. I was hopeful that I would get him. He was gonna be one of my last 2 picks. So I'm devastated. I mean, if you couldn't tell by my reaction before Keith even said who he was picking. But yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick, a delightful pick here at the end of round 4.
My next pick, I'm getting a little worried. I don't want to go like so far off the beaten path that like I have to explain who they are, because I know that's not gonna make it into the Twitter poll. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
That's what I've been doing this whole time.
I don't want to try and explain why this person's good. So I just don't think I'm gonna take them. So this will be my even less off the board pick than what I was gonna do, and hopefully people will see the logic here, which is that I'm going back towards incredible athleticism. I'm taking the rule is we can take anybody who started a game at quarterback last year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That's the deal.
Oh, God.
All right. Well, this person snuck one in there.
Oh wait, I know who you're taking.
Robert Griffin III.
Damn.
Oh.
I totally
My guy was a
forgot
track
about
star.
that. Totally
All right.
forgot about that.
Track star. You know what that means? It means speed. So I am, taking different aspects and just finding the person in the NFL at this position who has the most of it. So I got the highest intelligence. I'm going to take the highest speed rating next. And I'm going to ride with Robert Griffin, who, if you've ever listened to an interview with him, actually seems like a pretty sharp dude too. I'm kind of surprised at how little NFL success he's had. When you look back at his scouting reports and stuff, he really seemed like a can't miss prospect. I don't know what happened with him.
I know what happened with him, Keith. I'll tell you.
Please enlighten me.
His body.
I hope it doesn't sink my.
It does
sink my pick.
His body fell apart. He had horrible injury his second year and just never came back. I think if we agree to knock the Preston's Cam Newton pick in round 2.
What is this week? No.
Yeah, I well, Keith and I both agreed. Preston obviously not on board.
Yep, I'm just.
But now Preston, it's time for you to climb on this boat, because Robert Griffin is no longer capable of being a track star. He's not. He's a shell of his former self physically. And I think similarly, if you take this pick in his prime, he's probably a first round pick. But I think he's just so far removed from that. His days of athletic prowess are long gone, in my opinion, and I think that's borne itself out in his lack of any playing time in the NFL.
I think his career got derailed by the injury, but I think the fact that he then didn't get to play and build his skill set and build his reputation, get the experience of seeing the field and playing the NFL game, kept him from ever really latching on. But the guy I think still has some juice in him.
Well, he's hung around the league, so he must have some.
The other thing, the difference between him and Cam Newton is Cam Newton's been beaten. He's got a lot of mileage.
Just pummeled into dust.
And Robert Griffin does not have that.
No, but I just think he's had his legs taken away. I think
I would be curious in straight line speed. I would probably bet that Kyler Murray is faster than he is.
Oh yeah.
But I bet you he would still be one of the fastest quarterbacks who started last year.
Maybe.
just in a straight rip.
Perhaps. Okay, Preston, you are back up.
Boy, oh boy. Okay, I'm not really seeing anything that like super jumps out at me. And I usually say that and then I settle on something. I'm really not seeing anything that jumps out at me. There's just problems with everybody I'm looking at here. Okay.
You gotta get creative, you know?
I am going to get creative. I'm going to take probably the most avid outdoorsman of any quarterback as I researched. With the exception of, I guess, Josh Allen, because Josh Allen literally ran like a probably multi-million-dollar farm. So besides that, I'm going to take Carson Wentz.
Oh, that is
Carson Wentz.
I really wasn't sure which QB you were going to say, because there's like 4 or 5 that I can envision being this person.
I was literally already writing a different one down.
What were you? I guess you don't have to tell me, but maybe you can tell me after our break. So Carson Wentz, like a very avid hunter, fisher, outdoorsman, owns a ton of property. That's basically all my reasoning here. Likes to camp, likes to be outside.
See, I did not know this. The only thing I knew about Carson Wentz is that he loves to fumble.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Luckily, I hope that doesn't come into play. And especially as an Indianapolis Colts fan, I hope that stops being the case. Part of this pick is aspirational, in that I want to put my faith behind this man because my team is now depending on it, for better or for worse. But scrappy guy, went to
he's big.
Weird school
I'll give him that.
Middle of nowhere, big dude.
North Dakota. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting Hunger Games value out of the last pick. I'm definitely not getting Twitter vote value out of it. No way, Jose.
Yeah, I don't really know how to feel about this. I mean, Carson Wentz is like, he's missed a lot of game time the last 2 years. He's never really struck me as a particularly tough guy, but I know he went to college in North Dakota, but I didn't know anything about him being like outdoorsy or anything like that. I just know he's a turnover machine, and I feel like that's not going to translate well to the Hunger Games scenario. Like, we're not playing football here, obviously.
How would it translate poorly? Like, what does he have to turn? Like, what is he going to accidentally drop his like life-saving medicine or something? And not be able
or
to pick it
he's
back
like
up?
he's gonna fumble his canteen with water like down the well or something. You know, like
what?
He's just
I'm picturing him
such an
trying
absurd.
to catch the sponsor balloon, and it just slips through his fingers.
Oh no.
That's such an absurd.
Now I'm picturing, because you referenced for Aaron Rodgers, you were talking about like maybe he could throw a spear as a Hail Mary, and now I'm picturing Carson Wentz tries to throw the spear and he accidentally hits his own ally.
Trips over himself.
It's just... Look, the other problem with Carson Wentz is that you're buying stock at an all-time low.
Yeah.
So yeah,
This is
the
true.
Twitter value is really not going to be there for you.
This is true.
People are gonna be like Carson Wentz. People are like looking at Preston like, oh yeah, that's a pretty good pick. Okay, that's a decent
You just
pick.
don't
Carson
have that,
Wentz.
like, I'm writing off your whole team because of this one pick person, and that could be Carson Wentz.
But I will say, and like I said, I'm not playing the Twitter vote anymore. He is the most like camping heavy quarterback I could find, for sure. So definitely the most spending time outside guy, which I know means nothing when he's just hitting his own allies with spears over and over again.
I'm surprised. Like I said, that there's like another obvious outdoorsy quarterback that I don't know if I'll take him or not. First, I will take with my penultimate pick, PJ Walker. I don't know if you guys remember him, but he like came from that teeny tiny. I don't even remember what the league what was that other league that lasted like a season, half a season. And he was like the MVP of that league. It was like the AA something association, something weird.
Yeah, I know.
But he came and played for the Carolina Panthers, and he actually played really well. And he's like this sneaky, super athletic, squirrely guy who I feel like everyone's gonna underestimate because he's small. And then all of a sudden he's gonna be in like towards the end and be like, holy shit, I can't catch this guy. He's too fast. So he's off the radar. People don't know who PJ Walker is. Maybe I just tanked my Twitter vote. But people who know will know that that's a good pick. And then I
know the name like vaguely, but I couldn't tell you much about him besides that he's not a particularly good quarterback and is like basically a wide receiver.
Yeah, for just shaming Carson Wentz, you should know he has a touchdown to interception ratio of 1-5. So
Well, that's not great. But I'm not dating him for his passing. Like he's a runner.
That's true.
Why do you get to shit on my Carson Wentz pick?
Well, listen. I didn't say anything about. Well, I didn't really bring up interceptions. For me, it's the fumbling that holds Carson. Carson Wentz averages a fumble a game. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Preston's looking at it. I promise you that's true. Because
I'm not looking at that. I know that's true.
Okay, because I one of my very good friends is like a dear Eagles fan, and like I'm having this arguments with him about like why is Carson Wentz getting traded for like when Jameis Winston isn't, and he's like, well, Jameis throws all these interceptions, and I was like, well, so does Carson Wentz, and I look it up. He doesn't really throw that many interceptions, but he has a fumble a game, so he has a ton of turnovers. Anyway, PJ Walker is like he's like the squirrely guy who like he hides in the brush. You know, like you don't think about him because you don't know who he is. And all of a sudden, he's the best athlete left and you're screwed. That's what PJ Walker is on my team. Now, I will go the player that I thought Preston was going to take as like the outdoorsy guy, and that's Matthew Stafford as my final
That's
pick.
who I thought he was talking about too.
I thought for sure he was thinking Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford from Texas, and like seems like he grew up near or around ranches. He like rides horses and shit. I think he owns a ranch.
This is definitely what I was thinking.
He's friends with Clayton Kershaw, so he has like very wealthy, popular, also athletic friends. He's kind of got like that. He's kind of got that pretty boy vibe. He's also been all over. Like he's playing in California now. He's born in Texas, I think. Went to school in Georgia, so I feel like he's gonna have connections in a lot of wealthy places. People that want to see their boy win, you know. So I love getting Matthew Stafford with my last pick. He's going to be right at home in the outdoors, and I think he's just going to be very popular for all the reasons that I mentioned with the viewers at home who can influence from the outside.
Carson Wentz is... I have found more stuff supporting his efforts than I have found Matthew Stafford. But I agree with you that like Stafford seems like an obvious pick there. He's a little older, but not by that much. I think that's fine. Yeah. I think it's a fine pick.
Also, were we like somewhat concerned that he was going to retire because his back was like about to fall off? He's fine. Like I don't know if your back can fall off, but
that was only because he was on the Lions.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was like a get me the hell out of Detroit maneuver.
Plus, all he knows how to do is lose. So that's not good. Like for the reverse Tom Brady here,
that is a concern. But like, listen, I have the guaranteed win. Okay. So I'm just trying to fill out my team with as many other very minute possibilities here, and I think Matthew does that for me because I didn't really have. I mean, I had Josh Allen, but I didn't really have like the good old country boy type, and I feel like that does hold value.
All right, well that brings me up. I think.
Yep, it does indeed. Preston's final pick.
So I already lost. So
I like that we've talked you into just full send on your own.
You know what?
Mind.
It happens every episode now. It's now becoming like the premise of the show that I like usually give up about halfway through. But you know what? That's great because we just get to have a little more fun with it. So I am taking the quarterback who has the third fastest 40-yard dash time in the league that somehow fell all the way to this point.
Okay.
And that is Kendall Hinton, who started one game for the Denver Broncos thanks to their
wide receiver.
Thanks to their truly atrocious COVID mishaps, where every single quarterback.
God. I forgot about this.
Now, here's the thing: he is potentially. I'm looking at his page right now. He's potentially the smallest person in this entire draft. He's 5'10", 193. He's tiny, absolutely tiny. But
that might be bigger than PJ Walker, if I'm being honest.
He runs a 4.48. And he's fast as hell. He was a very average receiver. I don't even think he like participated in the combine. I think these 40-yard dash times are potentially unofficial. Yeah. So definitely a dark horse pick here. But
so he's so dark horse. He's not even on the list of official quarterbacks to have started a game last season. I guess because he's a receiver. And like the Broncos, I do remember the game where the Broncos did not have a starting quarterback. But I think on a technicality, I guess that kind of counts. I don't know anything about this guy to really like knock the pick other than I guess.
Yeah, I mean, just as a quick reminder, as a quarterback, which as we know doesn't matter for the Hunger Games, he was 1 for 9 with 2 interceptions.
How many yards though? 7 yards.
7 total yards. 7 total yards. I'm not seeing any rushing on here, but that is an 11% completion percentage.
He is fast.
Yes.
I mean, that part I remember.
Yes, he's incredibly fast. So I think with him and Lamar Jackson, like, I have speed for days. And then, maybe Cam Newton for like a half hour before his knees give out.
You're just gazelling it. I mean, I feel like Cam was never that fast, really. Like, he just was huge.
No, he was just hard to bring down. Yes, you're correct.
I mean, he's not slow by any means, but... okay, that was totally off my board. As he was technically not a starting quarterback, but I think we kind of have to allow it. He was
off my board too until I figured out that anybody I took was just going to be dumb again. So let's go for it.
God damn, Preston is extra self-defeatist tonight. Keith, why don't you wrap up the draft for us with the last pick of the QBs for the Hunger Games draft? Something that I thought I would never say.
All right. I have struggled to figure out where the best direction is to go. I want to be mindful of someone that people like who people are gonna respond to well on social media, and I feel like I've found the person I feel the best about that, and that's gonna be the mustachioed man himself.
This is who I consider
Gardner Minshew.
Yes.
Gardner should have been named Beowulf Minshew. For those who don't know, his grandfather wanted him to be named Beowulf. I believe he has a 2 in his name just because they wanted him to be a 2.
Isn't he the third? I think he's Gardner Minshew the third, and there's neither a first nor a second Gardner Minshew.
So this is a guy who does things his own way. If you've seen the Hunger Games movies, Woody Harrelson. This is the Woody Harrelson. He is
Woody Harrelson. That's a really good point.
And he's the wild card.
And Woody Harrelson won his Hunger Games.
Right. He's dripping swag. People aren't going to know what he's thinking, what he's going to do, but I'm going for the another element to add to my team, another characteristic.
Well, you certainly did that.
To bring to the squad. And I've got this scrappy guy nobody had heard of. This is a guy who turned down Nick Saban. Nick Saban was like, come play quarterback at Alabama, You could be the 5th string guy or whatever. And he was like, no, I'm good, bro.
You can sit behind 3 future Heisman winners.
Right. I'm gonna go to Washington State and lead the nation in passing. Because Mike Leach will let me throw anything, anytime, anywhere. And look, it worked out for him. I like a guy who's gonna add that roll of the dice style to the team. So I'm gonna take Gardner Minshew. Although I never got around to my sleeper pick because I just decided nobody would know who the hell it is.
We'll save it for the second
half.
I do see Gardner Minshew as like the scene in the Hunger Games where they're all like in the gym and they're like displaying what they can do. Like somebody's bench pressing, another person's doing like some sort of intellectual puzzle or something. He's up with the people that are observing and he's just networking. He's just getting boozy with all the people up there, just working the room. His like shirt's half untucked and stuff like that. He's like, don't worry about those people down here. Like
half untucked into his jean shorts.
Yes.
And he's just chain smoking cigarettes.
They're like, what do you do? And he's like, I got up here. That's what I do.
Yeah. What do you think? I think Gardner Minshew is like, I'm scared he's going to be one of those people where I look into it and actually he's like a terrible human being. But I think like his character brings so much to the NFL. Like, there are a lot of people in the NBA. There are a lot of people in the NBA that turn it into like a reality TV show every now and then. If there were more people like Gardner Minshew in the NFL, it would be more entertaining to watch.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think like the probability of Gardner Minshew winning the Hunger Games is extremely low, but there definitely is an alley for him. Like it's not a 0% no chance for Gardner Minshew. It's like it's a wild set of circumstances that lead him there, but it is possible, I think.
Maybe it's like the powers that be rig the game to let him win because they think he would be the best spokesperson.
That's the thing. Like Bud Light is going to get involved somehow and swing it in Gardner's favor for just because he's such a ridiculous, outrageous character. But yeah, so that wraps up our QBs for the Hunger Games draft. Keith ends up with Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Robert Griffin III, and Gardner Minshew III. He's got the third monopoly
the
locked
legacy
up.
Picks.
And then Preston has Lamar Jackson, Cam Newton, Ryan Tannehill, Justin Herbert, Carson Wentz, and Kendall Hinton. And I have Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Taysom Hill, Aaron Rodgers, PJ Walker, and Matthew Stafford. We'll be back to break those teams down in just a second. Hey guys, just want to take a quick second to promote the fact that we are now on Patreon. Yes, you can support us at patreon.com/draftedpod. That would mean so much. And if that's not your thing, we also have a brand new Discord, so come hang out with us anyway. We'll go ahead and post a link to both in the description of the episode. So check them out. All right, let's get back to the show. This is a question I'm spurring on you guys that I don't typically ask, but I think it needs to be asked. And it's okay if you answer a person who was actually drafted. Which NFL quarterback has the most Hunger Games name?
Boy.
I have a few here if you guys can't think of any.
I had a feeling that you, considering that you're asking most people ask these questions like they already have the answer. Like I'm an avid TikToker, and now the thing to do on TikTok is to ask people, like, you give them a prompt, like, what's your favorite movie that nobody else likes? But then they always go, I'll go first, and then start to share theirs. I'm like, you're only asking this so that you make a trend where you give the answer first. That's kind of what's happening right now. You're like,
listen, I just know because I had.
Let me ask you this prompt that I've already researched and have a great answer.
This is how podcasts work, Keith. Okay, I had a thought. It's a good question. I knew I was asked a question, therefore I thought about answers for it.
Long enough to get the answer, which is Teddy Bridgewater.
Damn it! I was gonna say that. God dang it, Keith. Keith's just a mic hog. Oh my god.
Yeah,
right, you're not coming on the show anymore.
I mean, if not Gardner Minshew, Gardner Minshew the second is already good.
Yes, very good.
I think those were two that I had on my list for sure. I also had Baker Mayfield, pretty Hunger Gamesy name, and then Colt McCoy, who did start I think one game for the Giants.
2 games.
2 games.
He did?
2 games.
Yeah.
You're kidding. I thought he was like broadcasting or something.
No, Daniel Jones got hurt, and Colt McCoy, great name.
What about Garrett Gilbert or Tyrod Taylor? I think there's something to like the alliteration.
Tyrod Taylor, Garrett Gilbert. I'm going to say no. Tyrod Taylor, I think I could see it.
What about Phillip Rivers? Okay. If you go with the like geographical body as the last name.
No, because I think you need more to it. Like Bridgewater works. I think Rivers is a little too simple. You need like some kind of river or river something. I think for it to really be a Hunger Games name.
Yeah, if it were River Phillips, I think maybe.
Oh yeah, River Phillips for sure. Okay, now I'm glad we went down that path, guys. Aren't you glad we all discussed that topic, Keith? Now I'll get back to I'll get back to our regularly scheduled programming here. What was the worst pick of the draft?
I mean, this is a short answer, right? Well, actually, you know what? I feel like we're gonna say Carson Wentz, right? Like, that feels like
I think it's a different one of Preston's.
I disagree.
Pick.
Oh good. I'm glad there's a variety of which one of Preston's picks we're gonna choose.
Then let's just knock Preston off. Go ahead, go for it.
I think it's Cam Newton. I like especially for the reasoning and at that spot. Like Cam was literally not on my board because I was like, he is done. He's physically barely functional anymore in an athletic sense. And I think like all of the reasons that you would take Cam no longer exist with Cam. So I can't see it. I can't, especially taking him in the second round. I just can't see it. I'm sorry, Preston.
I feel like that's a little bit of an overstatement. Like maybe
have
he's
you
been
seen
brought
him play
down to earth
in the last like 3 years.
Yes, he's been brought down to earth with the rest of humanity, but he still is this unbelievably built athlete.
He's still huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you that.
You took a 180-year-old weirdo on your team. Like, that's who I'm going to say is the worst pick. And not for the fact that he's old, but for the fact that I think he is the easiest person to ally up against in the whole draft. Like, it is most likely that people are going to form a complete alliance against him.
Listen, I understand the desire to think that Tom Brady's a bad pick. I understand it. I want to think it's a bad pick myself because I hate Tom Brady more than anyone I know. That is true. And I think it's ridiculous that he keeps winning the Super Bowl. I genuinely think...
Wait, you hate Tom Brady more than anyone you know hates Tom Brady, or you hate Tom Brady more than you hate anybody
That's kind
else
of where I was at, yeah.
No. I hate Tom Brady more than I know anyone else hates Tom Brady.
Okay.
No one, to my knowledge, no one surpasses my hatred for Tom Brady.
I gotcha.
Okay?
to my knowledge.
But somehow... he keeps getting himself in these situations where he wins, and it's bullshit. Like the NFL is rigged. I genuinely think it might be rigged in his favor somehow. And I don't know how, but I hate it. But he's going to win the Hunger Games. And I'm sorry. It pains me to say that. But the fact of the matter is, we've picked 18 quarterbacks, and Tom Brady's going to be the one that wins this competition. And that's just a shameful truth.
I like that you've just given in to Tom Brady just divine.
I've given up. What more argument can I make now? Like against it? Like it's just, provable at this point.
It's fait accompli. You know, Tom Brady is just that far ahead of the group, and you know what? But I do think that Preston brings up a great point. Like, not only are the competitors potentially able to ally against him or the sponsors, but the people voting in this Twitter poll. For all the votes that you get that are like, ooh, Tom Brady, I love Tom Brady, I'm going to pick him. You're going to get like, oh my God.
People hate Tom Brady, but I feel like most people are like, but he's the GOAT. So like they're going to think, oh, he's the GOAT, he's going to win.
Yeah, that's why I think Cam Newton's a worse pick. But I think Tom Brady feels more like a 3rd round pick.
Okay.
Cam Newton feels like a 4th, 5th round pick, if at all.
Okay.
It should be noted that in the original show I listened to this back in like 2014, Cam Newton made it to the finals in a bracket, and I believe the others in the Final Four were Rodgers and Phillip Rivers, and I don't remember who number 4 was, but Phillip Rivers, they were talking a lot about his outdoorsmanship type stuff.
If Phillip Rivers weren't 68 years old, I would have also
be a sneaky good pick.
He was on my list. Yeah. But now you might as well take Stafford or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Right. For sure.
Well, yeah, so we were really scraping the bottom of the barrel, I felt like, with some of those last picks. I'm not going to ask who is the guy that we want to pick. We also just discussed Phillip Rivers. What I want to ask Preston is who won the Grantland article? Who was their pick in 2014?
Cam. For all the reasons I laid out. And as you have stated time and time again, it was a different time.
7 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a long way in NFL terms in
but,
particular.
Yeah, but Keith, you did have a pick that you think is still on the board that you were going to make as a dark horse.
I have 2 players who I was like, okay, I would consider this person as well. One is little known Jake Lewton.
What?
Who started a couple games for Jacksonville this year.
Oh, yeah.
In part just because he's gigantic. He's 6'7" and has a strong arm and is
easy,
I think like a
easy target.
Texas boy. But yeah, it's hard to get a lot of beef in this
the quarterback
realm. So there could be something to that, you know, like sure, no one's catching Kendall Hinton, but if Jake Lewton got his hands on Kendall Hinton,
it's game over.
It's over.
It's a wrap.
It's game over.
It's a wrap. So I thought about it, but in the end I was like, no one's gonna know who this person is. It's gonna take so much explanation to explain why he was a good pick. It's not worth it. The other person takes a lot less explanation. Jimmy Garoppolo, and it's because he's really damn cute.
Yes.
He is handsome.
So nobody's gonna want to kill him,
man.
He's just so damn handsome.
The roux. He's the roux of this draft.
In the end, I went with Minshew's swag over Jimmy G's just good looks.
I think that was a good call
as like a charm offensive sort of pick. But Jimmy G crossed my mind as like, look, there's just a subsection of people who want to pick Jimmy G because he's so good looking.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, since we ended up going on this topic anyway, I had Dak Prescott on my list. I would have taken him if he hadn't had his leg basically fall off this past season. He's just another guy who's like.
It's a pretty good reason to not take him.
Yeah, it is. And it was sad. He seems like a really nice guy. It is also, he's very large and very fast and very physically imposing. Also, this was my very off the beaten path pick, Alex Smith. Because Alex Smith, more so than any quarterback, literally almost died and came back and started an NFL game after it.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd want to take the guy who you're like, I don't want to take Dak Prescott because his leg almost fell off.
But Alex Smith,
let me take the guy who's near death.
The difference is Dak has not proven he can come back yet. The Dak injury could be hampering. Alex Smith has recovered and played NFL football again, which is bonkers.
Well, yeah, but played NFL football is a strong statement.
He played okay. I mean,
he
played okay.
Washington made the playoffs. And when he started several of their games, that's a feat. Obviously, I didn't end up taking it, but that would have been my argument for it if I had.
What about Sam Darnold, because he can see ghosts? So,
no.
That could have some applicability. That's definitely a power nobody else has.
No. Sam Darnold brings no value to any facet of life.
How about Daniel Jones? What about Daniel Jones?
No.
Oh, I just want to talk about when Daniel Jones fell.
Well, this is what I was going to ask: is who is
open.
potentially the worst pick in this draft
Daniel
of starting
Jones.
quarterbacks? And I think it is Daniel Jones.
Like, you want to say like Ben Roethlisberger,
No.
but at least Ben is big.
He's savvy,
right? Like,
yeah, and he's got years under he'll figure.
but
it out.
I think it's
Daniel
Jones.
Jones just literally trips over himself.
If it's not,
He is kind of athletic.
what
actually,
about Jared Goff?
Yeah, Jared Goff also seems dumb as well. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Not like I said, Jared Goff is like box of rocks dumb, but I mean, mostly he's known for not knowing where the sun rises. Like
What?
he was like, wait, is it the east or the west? He like didn't know.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is something he said on Hard
And
Knocks.
I'm seeing an article
for good reason.
I'm seeing an article here that he's saying now that opposing defenses still trash talk him for it. Like he'll get hit and somebody says like, "Where's the sun?"
I mean, that's.
Can you imagine someone asking you how disorienting it would be if someone's like running after you, like a 340-pound dude is about to hit you, and he's like, "Where's the sunrise?" You'd just be like, "What?"
I don't know. All right, before we say anything like that actually gets us in trouble in terms of Jared Goff, let's wrap up the show, shall we? Whose team do we think won this draft? Who is the most likely to have the last man standing, so to speak?
Keith.
I know you want to say you because of Tom Brady, but
I don't want to say me because of Tom Brady. I have to say me because of Tom Brady.
I'm gonna be that guy and say me. I'm gonna be that guy because I think I got the best pick for the value, which is Ryan.
Yeah, that was a great pick. Best pick of the draft, I think.
I feel like that really boosted the quality of my team, and I feel like I got the best last round pick out of the three of us. So, I also like I feel like I won the most rounds. So I look at my team and feel very good about it.
Preston,
I would
what about
agree.
you?
I think it's Keith. Keith, since he was picking after me a couple times, he would follow me up with probably the pick I should have taken, and I just made me feel dumb. Like the Minshew pick, definitely should have taken. Ryan Fitzpatrick definitely should have taken instead of Justin Herbert, who I took that round. Although I still think that was a good choice.
Yeah, the Fitzpatrick pick is really good, especially if like you're working together as a team. If you're pairing his brains with like the athleticism of a Murray Wilson or Mahomes, that's a pretty lethal combo. So I will pick Keith as well, mostly because I really don't want Tom Brady to win, even though I know he will. So that's how I feel. But Keith, thank you so much for coming on. Especially we thank our guests all the time, but Keith really bailed us out today. We had a late cancellation with our scheduled guest, so Keith came in absolutely last second with basically no prep. Came in and then by our vote won the draft anyway. So we appreciate you very much, sir.
Amazing.
I appreciate y'all handing me one since I feel like I get my ass kicked around here a little too often.
Yeah, well, I mean,
maybe I need to stop doing the food related podcast.
Well, there we go. I mean, this could not be less food related, I don't think. But if you would like, Keith, would you like to remind the people where they can catch you these days?
Of course. Like we said earlier, and if you missed it, if you're into Ultimate Frisbee, I do a podcast with UltiWorld, Deep Look. You can find that on wherever you get your podcasts, pretty much. Or if you're into sports video games, you can hang out with me on Twitch, twitch.tv/KRMagic, or check out my YouTube content under the same name, KR Magic. That's KAYARE, the word magic, one word.
I have to say, I'm not really into 2K at all, but I have thoroughly enjoyed hanging out with Keith in his streams the last few days. He's just a fun guy, as you can tell from this pod.
I try and be entertaining. I pick up some stuff from my friend Daniel Prentice, who does a pretty good stream of his own.
Oh, stop it, Hugh. But yeah, we actually had a lot of fun, Preston and I, last week on my Twitch. Look out for that on YouTube. Be sure to vote for the winner of this draft on Twitter, @DraftedPod. Catch us on Facebook and Instagram at those websites /DraftedPod. Email us if you have any ideas for a show. Also, join our Discord. The link for that will be in the show description. And if you can and would like to, please support us on Patreon. That would mean so much to us. But for this week, for Preston and myself, we will talk to you guys in 7 days.